So in 2024, the average salary for running backs was about $1.5 million per year. This is actually the lowest amongst any skill position in the NFL. Now, wide receivers have an average salary of about $2.8 million per year, nearly double the average running back, and quarterbacks have an average salary of about $8 million per year. Now, in 2024, the top running back contracts right now are given to Saquon Barkley with $11 million per year, Derrick Henry $10.5 million a year, barely cracking the top 20 non-quarterbacks in the NFL. Now, there has been a historical decline in NFL salary. In 2011 to 2012, running backs guys made on average $8 million more per year. Now, when we compare this to top receivers in the league, Tyreek Hill, for example, is earning about $30 million per year. And when we compare this to Jetta, guys, Jetta is earning right now a total of $35 million per year. This is almost 3 times Derrick Henry's. This is almost 3 times Saquon Barkley's. And as a matter of fact, 20 wide receivers make $10 million plus annually compared to just 5 running backs in the NFL. So with all that being said, guys, today we're going to talk about whether or not the NFL is valuing running backs lower than they should right now. This is a very important video to me because I like running backs. I think they are one of the key faces of a team, and I want them to be paid as much as I think they deserve. And right now, I don't think they're getting the fair market share that they do deserve. They're doing a lot more for teams than they're getting paid for. So stick around, relax, subscribe to the channel, and let's get into all of that, man. Let's do it. Now, let's talk about the new change in the NFL. A lot of teams are trying to move towards the running back by committee sort of style. We're seeing teams like the Dallas Cowboys this year going for more of a running back by committee sort of approach to the backfield, and this has kind of worked in the opposite direction for them. So instead of getting a guy like Derrick Henry over the offseason, get a certified stud at that position in the offseason, they went on to get a committee, and this doesn't always work. Yes, there are some times that running back by committee work, like David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. Most of the time, you want to have a stud running back. Most of the time, you want to have a guy that can really take the backfield as his own, and that's what you get when you get a player like Derrick Henry. That's what you have when you have a player like Saquon Barkley, when you have a player like CMC. These guys are game changers. These guys, I would argue, are probably more important than your receivers on that team. Having a guy like Derrick Henry on your team is going to change the entire dynamic of the way you're defended by defenses. It's going to change the entire style of your offense more than just having a receiver that you're paying $35 million to per year. So it's really just kind of crazy, especially knowing the fact that these elite guys are also really good at catching the ball. These elite running back athletes do a lot more than just run the ball nowadays. So I think their position is becoming more and more versatile, and the fact that teams see this change in the running back position as a reason to lower their pay doesn't make much sense to me at all. And I'm saying all of this without any statistics, but I'm going to give y'all some of the statistics, some of the facts here to show that, okay, these running backs, these workhorse running backs are actually doing really good. When we take a look at Saquon Barkley this year, guys, dude has 1,137 rushing yards. He's 30 in the NFL right now, 12 touchdowns. His offensive contribution to the Eagles offense right now is 40%. Make that make sense. How is someone with 40% of the offensive workload on your offense not being one of the highest paid players on that offense? So yeah, please tell me this. How is a guy that is 40% of your entire offensive production being paid only about $11 to $12 million a year compared to a receiver like AJ Brown? Even though he's good, right? He's getting paid $32 million a year. Guys, that is absurd. That doesn't make logical sense to me as a viewer of the game. That's what I'm telling you right now. Running backs, the market around them has to shift again. These guys are becoming more and more important, even though teams don't want to accept it. Having a star like a Saquon Barkley on your team, a workhorse that is so talented and good on your team, is so valuable. And teams are slowly realizing that. As Giant fans, you guys definitely know that now, all right? But Saquon Barkley, Derrick Henry, all these guys are the kind of workhorses that you want, and they're rare to come by, they're rare to find. And other people would talk about the fact that these guys are very injury prone, so teams usually have years and seasons without these guys even being on the field. And we're seeing this even this season with a guy like Christian McCaffrey, who's one of the highest paid, actually the highest paid running back in the league, and he hasn't played most of the season. I think the injury is a very good argument, a very good counter argument to why running backs should not be paid as high. But I want to show you guys the improvements that we're seeing from running backs, okay? Because one thing we got to realize is as time goes on, we're going to have better medical services, better medical care for these players. So these players are going to play longer and longer and actually have higher impacts on games, make more corrections to their overall play style. And what I'm seeing here is running backs actually lasting longer in the league. Guys, Derrick Henry right now is 30 years old and he's leading the league as a rusher right now. He's one of the best rushers in the NFL and he is 30. That's the age where most people will be counting out running backs, but Derrick Henry is showing the world, showing everybody that running backs can do it even at the age of 30. This man is literally 45% of the Baltimore Ravens total offense. That is how impressive having a Derrick Henry on your team can be, guys. And let's just look at Christian McCaffrey again as another example. Literally, guys, everybody knows that Christian McCaffrey is one of the best players in the NFL. I don't care what receiver it is. Give me Justin Jefferson or Christian McCaffrey. I'm picking Christian McCaffrey because he does so much more for an offense than Justin Jefferson ever can. One cornerback can't take Christian McCaffrey out of the game. And that's why I believe these running backs, these workhorses are so valuable and key, because no matter what offense they play on, no matter what team they're on, running backs have more versatility when it comes to actually drawing plays. And when I say versatility, this is obviously referring to pass catching backs, guys who can actually catch the ball, which is what the league is moving more towards. So now they're making running backs be receivers and running backs, but not wanting to pay them receiver money, but they're doing two jobs at once. Make that make sense for me. And another key reason why I think running backs should be re-evaluated in terms of the value is the current injury state of the NFL. Guys, in the 2024 season, we've seen so many wide receivers go down with injuries, and these are guys being paid a lot of money. These are the guys that are being paid the highest amount of money after the quarterback. And yes, you can say they're impressive studs, they're great guys on the team, but if we want to equivocate or equate the injury problems with running backs and say they should get paid less because they get injured a lot, we should also see how the wide receiver position has been getting injured more and more over the past years. Guys, we're getting hamstring injuries week in, week out happening to wide receivers, and not even that, we're also getting concussions. So you can almost say is probably equal when it comes to the injury rate or the injury risk with having a wide receiver and a running back. If the running back can take care of himself, this running back can actually be a sturdy part of an offense. Look at Kyron Williams, for example, this season. This man has literally been one of the largest part of the Rams offense. They didn't even have Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp most of this season, and he has been playing almost every down, but still hasn't been injured. So we're seeing that running backs do and can stay healthy, and receivers can struggle with injuries, especially to this season. So why the hell are these guys one of the lowest paid position in the NFL? It just doesn't make sense to me. Like, I want to get it, I want to understand, I want to say that yes, these running backs, they can easily be replaced, the skill gap isn't as high and all those things, but if you do get an elite running back, you shouldn't be paying Christian McCaffrey $16 million a year when you're giving Brandon Ayuk the literal house. This should not be the norm. CMC should be getting paid way more money than Brandon Ayuk. CMC is way more important than Brandon Ayuk on the 49ers offense. He has way more ways to change the game than Brandon Ayuk has, and that is not an exaggeration. If you're an NFL fan, if you're a fan of the game and you watch football as much as I do, you understand that these running backs have way more value. These elite guys that are so hard to find, they shouldn't be cheated by giving them what, like literally penny on the dollar compared to the money that these receivers are getting, just because the consensus is running back shouldn't get paid. Guys, have y'all seen Saquon Barkley on the Eagles this season? Literally the last game, the division matchup against Washington, Saquon Barkley scored 2 touchdowns. You can't just shut up Saquon Barkley because you have good DBs. You can't just shut up Saquon Barkley because you have good linebackers. You can't just shut down Saquon Barkley because your D-line is good. If you shut down Saquon Barkley, you're literally giving out so much more to the offense if you just shut down Saquon Barkley. So it's way harder to stop these running backs, especially these elite running backs. And guys, when we look at teams that have running back by committee versus teams that have that one lone horseback, we see that these teams usually tend to do better. Teams with a horseback, teams with the guy that they rely on and they give all the plays to, these guys are usually more reliable than a committee backfield. I want you to take a look at Kyron Williams this season, okay? I want you to take a look at the Derrick Henrys and the Ravens of the world. I want you to take a look at Isaiah Pacheco when he's on that Chiefs offense. I want you to take a look at some of these great horsebacks that are in the league right now, literally lighting it up. Yeah, I know injuries happen, all right, but same with receivers. Receivers get injured as well. All these positions, they get injured. You're playing football, but you want to have a consistent guy. You want to have a workhorse guy, but you don't want any running back. You actually want a good running back, and that's what teams are failing to understand. That's where all this problem is stemming from. They think the position is too simple to pay a lot of money for, but this season, these players are showing the NFL that there are tiers in being a good running back. It takes a lot of skill and a certain individual to be a really good running back. You can't just chuck in anyone. You can't just have a committee of low tier running backs and expect to do good anymore. You actually have to pay the studs. You have to pay your guys. So guys, let me know down in the comments, what do you think about the state of running backs in the league right now, and how can we go about making these guys get the pays that they deserve? There is no way, my boy, you're gonna tell me that Brandon Ayuk should be getting paid more than Christian McCaffrey. That is a blanket nope. That is one of the worst statements I will ever hear from a person. If any of you go down and say that, I'm disliking that. I'm burning my phone if I see that. I'm literally deleting the channel if you think that is the case. Now, thank you for watching. Peace out. Subscribe. Bye-bye, my nigga. Mwah. Gang.